There's also a problem with people who are insanely smart, like genius level, because I don't know how easy it is for people like that to communicate with other people. Like, I've thought about that a bit too. And it's like, I've taken physics in school and I've taken some courses, and there are some things that I can tell that I'm not smart enough to understand as well as somebody else, per se. Physics is an example. I find physics very difficult. But the upside of that is, I think the closer you are to average, it's possible, and this is just a guess, but it's possible that it's easier to communicate with other people, because once you get to the kind of the edges, it's hard to find friends and people who understand you, I would assume.
Would you trade it?
I don't know. I don't think I would. Like, I've thought about that. Would I add on like 15 extra IQ points? What would it be like? What would I be able to understand? I probably I would. But I don't think it would make communicating with other people any easier. And I don't think it would make me happier. So might be something I regretted later. You'd trade it though, huh?
Well, 15 points is easy. Yes, I would definitely take 15 points.
Are you thinking like 30 or 45?
50 is sort of the number I have in my head, because at that point you're a historical anomaly. At that point, like if I were 50 points higher than I am now, that would surely put me at a minimum sort of at the bottom rung of genius. And possibly more if, to set sort of humility aside for a second. 50 points of IQ goes into the territory of, I now understand things about the world that other people do not understand.
Yeah.
And the only thing, so 15 is easy because I would still find it very easy to relate to my wife, who is my absolute everything. 50 gives me pause because I am so into my wife that I wouldn't want something that I felt diminished my connection with her in any way. And I think that is, you put your finger very quickly on the one sort of real concern is, at the end of the day, being the smartest person that ever lived would be amazing. I'm not denying that, but loving deeply and having a human uplift you and to share a life with somebody is the greatest joy I have ever known. So I'm not certain enough that it would be worth the trade that I would put my marriage at risk.
I'm a fairly volatile person for a number of reasons. I think my health contributed a lot to that, and it's something I'm working on. But I already have a difficult time with people who think they understand something and are talking to me and don't. And I don't have the patience to explain it. It depends on the topic, but a lot of the times I'm lacking the patience to explain it properly. And I think if I, bumped myself up in IQ, I'd just be irritated all the time at everybody who didn't understand what I understood, because it'd be so much easier to understand things quickly. But then maybe you can also, I also like, have you had a professor or something that has been studying one topic for so long that they're so far beyond, first year students that they can't communicate their ideas effectively?
I don't remember having anybody that had lost the ability to communicate. I know well what you are talking about. I think we all fall prey to that in our areas of expertise.
Yeah.
I often have to remind my wife thinks of herself as average in every area. And in some areas, of course, she is average. But there are certain areas like logistics where my wife is inhuman. And I look at her like, how did you just think through all the permutations in like 7 seconds? And for her, it gets very frustrating to deal, namely with me, because I'm really like, I assure you, I'm trying to like follow all the different ways you've thought through this. And so I can see her struggle sometimes with, if she thinks of herself as average, then is the other person just being obstinate? But once she recognizes, oh yeah, this is one of those things where I'm truly, I just have a much, much deeper skill set than somebody else. And if she remembers that, then she can, cue into patience and help walk the person through. So you do have to be very careful as you move through things where you are an expert versus you aren't. If you don't adjust your thinking about other people as you go, it can lead to the friction you're talking about.